Oh
no.
No!
Jonathan.
Jason just broke Super Mario Bros. For the Game & Watch.
I didn't break it.
Yes, you did. Where'd you put the little plastic tab? Put it in and out. Take it out again.
It's just lighting up random parts of the screen. And then does nothing.
No! Our rarest and most valuable retro gaming possession, Super Mario Bros. For the Game & Watch, has just kicked the bucket.
No, it probably just needs...
Batteries may be corroded again. Yeah, that's what happened the first time. The batteries corroded. We never told that story. That was years ago.
I don't know if we actually replaced them or if I just cleaned the batteries.
Yeah, you scrub-a-dub-dubbed them, but maybe now they're dead.
Yeah.
You put, like, alcohol on them or something.
We need to replace the batteries. Well, so much for playing that as the intro to the podcast. Instead, you just got to hear
it's screaming
squealing. Maybe Donkey Kong works.
Oh, no. Historically, Donkey Kong Jr. has been the worst one. It's the most fickle.
Well, this one's not working.
Yeah, at this point, we're past the intro. I might as well say...
wait, but Cement Factory is going to work.
Please let Mario Cement Factory work. Come on, come on. Come on, come on. Yeah, we tried to fix them ourselves. I don't remember where we got these.
Oh, no.
No, Mario.
It's doing random.
Mario,
okay, they need replacement batteries.
Yeah, that's what we had to do last time. The batteries were corroding. They were like growing like some whole new class of alien organism on them. It was like lichen.
It was bluish greenish.
And Jason scrubbed it off, and then we had to make new plastic
don't think it was
tabs
biotic,
to stick
though.
into.
I think it was.
Oh yeah, I'm just being exaggeratory.
Oh, well, you
hyperbolic.
Oh, you mean you don't actually think it was an alien?
Well, do you think? You want to posit something? You wanna call?
Are you kidding me?
What?
Are you joking?
What? Where was it?
Right here. It was on your.
Oh my goodness, guys! Forget the Game & Watch story. This is even funnier.
It's been on your desk the whole time.
We just and we'll get into this later. This is a story to tell about our vacation. We just went on a once annual, but we haven't actually gone in a while. Trip up to Pennsylvania to go to a family reunion and stay with relatives. But we really wanted to take New Super Mario Bros. Because it's like our most sentimental and one of our favorite multiplayer games to play.
A couple years ago, I replaced the batteries in both our DSi and 3DS, so now we can actually they're actually functional.
They're not swollen and they can last for more than 5 seconds.
Well,
unplugged.
Here's the real impressive part. You remember your DSi how the L and R buttons broke and you had to try to blow in them to fix them?
Yeah,
I replaced the L and R, but don't do that, by the way.
Yeah.
I replaced the L and R buttons, so our DSi is back to nearly full function.
Yes.
So to celebrate, we played the classic game that we would always play, DSi download play between the DSi and the 3DS. We would play New Super Mario Bros. Versus mode, and so that's just a capability we have yet again. Normally, you'd be like, "Why do you want to play New Super Mario Bros. DS?
Fun.
That game came out in 2009." But that's the backstory.
They should have that game mode in all the Super Mario Bros. It should be in Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
It should.
But here's the thing: we wanted to take it with us because we take the 3DS and the DSi.
Mostly because it's an 8-hour drive.
And we searched up and down the whole house and we couldn't find this game cartridge for New Super Mario Bros. The original New Super Mario Bros. And Jason was fearing the worst. He thought it was gone forever.
I checked every DS game case we have in the house. I checked every DS game holder, what's the term? I checked everything. Basically.
Every game case, all of them.
Every case,
and he could not find it. And so we just with sunken shoulders and drooped shoulders, sunken heads. I don't know which one sounds better. We went up to Pennsylvania with no new Super Mario Bros.
Empty-handed.
thinking that maybe we'd never see it again, and then we sit down for the podcast.
I sit down and I use my eyeballs, and it's right there.
On my desk.
It's right here on his desk.
How'd you miss that? How did either of us miss that?
How did you live here?
I live here.
You literally have seen that like 12 hours a day, every day of your life, and you didn't know it was
Jason,
there.
Do you know anything about me? Do you remember when Mom would put sticky notes on my binder for school to like remind me to do stuff, like turn in assignments?
No, John.
And I just turn into background noise.
Your comb.
If something is sitting in a space for a long enough time and I don't use it, it is just part of the wall now.
It is less than an inch away from your comb. Meaning that you literally had to...
Yeah, which means that
you had to tickle your fingers right by the cartridge when you were packing to go on this trip.
What, and you think that in my disassociative state that my fingers will touch a random plastic square and be like, that's new Super Mario Brothers.
I've been listening to our podcast audios, and you always sound more distant than me because you're always talking.
It's because I love looking at you because I'm talking to you.
This is why if you need to use your money from your new job to buy a microphone, because then we can do dual recording and we can both have microphones.
So far, the only thing I've bought with my money...
is the Mario movie on DVD.
Well, yeah, we split that, and it was a surprise. Jason was just like, surprise, I bought the Mario movie, give me half the money, which I do appreciate. I wanted it, but I was not, like, involved in the purchase.
You didn't buy those marbles, if that's what you're about to say.
Oh, I thought I did.
You didn't pay for them.
I have marbles. I got them in Pennsylvania. Marble ASMR. This is actually good ASMR, like, for real. I would love this.
Okay. That one was
They're in little baggies. Yeah, I don't like money, though. Money is evil. I actually told...
all I'm saying is you could get a microphone and then we could both record, and then it would be nice and professional. We'd both have a microphone for each of us.
I'm actually just...
And then you could pan our audios left and right.
That's actually something I've been wanting to implement for a while, but it always seemed like too expensive of an idea.
Working for 1 hour at your job will allow you to buy a microphone to do that. So if you hate money so much, you might as well spend it on something useful to you. Get it out. Get rid of it.
Here's what I want to do with all the money. I just want to pay back everyone I've been mooching off of my whole life. But eventually,
you're not going to be able to do that.
I know. I want to at least try. That's the only, because I really don't care about money.
Like, you can't just go. You can't tally back all the way back to the baby food. When you were a kid?
No, I mean more when I reached the age where I should have been able to pay for myself, but instead I was living with my parents and having people buy me gifts because they thought that it was nice and not that I didn't deserve it.
What?
I mean,
paying people back for gifts?
Yeah.
Do you know what a gift is?
Well, yeah, but you guys give me gifts and I don't give you guys gifts, so it doesn't really feel deserved.
You give us gifts, but you just don't pay for them.
Well, what do you mean?
I mean, like at Christmas, I'm pretty sure the gifts
that
Christmas
you give us 5 years ago, I gave you a video game, and then that was it for like the next several years. I wish I could give you guys more things, but I'm so slow to make stuff.
No, I mean stuff that you buy for us for Christmas, but I'm saying you don't actually use your money for it. I'm pretty.
Oh yeah, I should pay that back then. To all the people I basically borrowed money for.
Good luck finding the receipts for those.
I know. I'll have to give a rough approximation.
Just debt forgiveness at this point. Start afresh.
Excuse me.
You can just, moving forward, pay for your Christmas gifts to other people.
Yes. That's definitely what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy...
And a microphone.
That's the real thing.
Are you going to buy a microphone?
If you pressure me enough, I will buy a microphone, and also
Why wouldn't you? Why do I need to pressure you to do that?
It's just so out of the way. But I'm definitely going to start paying for my own gifts.
How is it
That's
out of the way?
That's the big difference.
How is it out of the way?
It just... I mean... it hurts me to buy anything that isn't a necessity. So right here, I have this microphone that is yours. And I know I said I don't like mooching off of people, but I can always use your microphone, you know?
But how are you going to... Where do you draw the line between necessity? Is not something that you want to... That like, you need to do... like, create things that you're passionate about?
Honestly,
is that not a necessity?
Honestly, I draw the line of necessity at do I need it to survive? And continue... working on the things I'm working on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I go back to school, boom, it's over. You won't have a microphone. You'll need that to do the things that you enjoy doing. I'm saying that is something that you enjoy doing.
That's assuming we start recording like gameplay or something.
Self-fulfillment is a is a human necessity. And so doing something that is fulfilling, like your passion projects such as this, that requires, or that qualifies as a necessity.
But how fulfilling is fulfilling?
And also, you keep talking about hypothetical, like if we... I thought you're the one who made a whole animatic explaining how you wanted to do all these things on the channel, and now you're saying if we ever do that.
I put a disclaimer at the beginning of that video.
No, because we can easily do it. It is completely, solely hinging on you. And you are the one now saying, if we do that, dude, literally just buy a microphone and boom, it's done. We do it. We literally just will do it. It is completely up to you. You are the only one holding us back. So you're saying if we do it, bro, it's your decision.
I'm not the only force holding us back now. I was going to say, as of now, me and Jason are both officially busy. I am employed, and he has his summer courses he's doing, which will lead right back into his regular courses.
No. There's a month of break.
Okay.
It ends at the beginning of August, so there's a little less than a month between when school starts.
And my employment ends on the August 11th, assuming that they don't somehow see enough value in me to scoop me up and give me a permanent position, which I would not be opposed to, but that would certainly be something I'd have to adjust to. And it would make me very busy. So... It's actually kind of miraculous that we're recording this right now. Jason was the one who popped into my room. Usually it's the other way around. It was like, we got to record a podcast, bro. It's too late.
The last few podcasts have all been on me.
Really?
Actually. Scheduling was...
The
last video we recorded was completely me. The last podcast we did...
That's true, but I didn't count that as a podcast.
Was because of me. I don't remember the one before that, but I don't know.
Things are changing.
You haven't been taking the steering wheel lately, so I don't know. I guess you're.
That's because I'm not a very good driver.
I guess you're depressed or something.
No, I don't know what I am, but my mind is. I'm too distracted, and this job is not helping things. Like, dude, I am in like the worst mental state ever. Like I'm not depressed or angry. I'm just dangerous. Like you should get away from me.
Dangerous, huh?
But for real.
Well, that's good method acting for the game you're making.
Oh my goodness. I heard you say that, and I was like, there's no way he's going to bring that up. Has that ever been mentioned on the podcast?
I have no idea.
Decades and centuries ago, I said I was going to make a game called Dangerous. And Jason thought the name sounded like hilarious. Like he was trying to be edgy, which it wasn't. But he's been making fun of me for it ever since.
That wasn't making fun of it. I was just a reference to it.
No, it is funny though, because now every time I say that word, you like it. There's a synapse that clicks, and it's like, ooh,
well, we were specifically talking about you and being busy. Which, whenever you talk about being busy, you're obviously talking about not having time to program games. So it was the synapses were basically right
were already
next to each
firing.
Other. Yeah, they were like already. That was not like the left to right ear synapses that we mentioned in the Nintendo video about that guy who made the comment about Etika.
Oh man, dude, yeah. Well, that video could have led like right back into a traditional podcast because we totally like started talking about unrelated stuff at the time.
It was a good transition.
You know, talking about dumb comments by / 2 Nintendo fans on Twitter. That we could use that as a segue to two different things. I'm making this a choose your own adventure story, Jason. I think you have your topics a little bit better planned out than mine do.
I have two topics.
Do you want
3 topics?
Well, the choose your own story path using the end of our last video as a segue is we can either talk about Twitter or we can talk about Nintendo more. You're probably Nintendo'd out.
I mean, I think there could be room for Nintendo maybe towards the end of this podcast, but what do you have to say about Twitter?
I have to say that I literally don't understand it anymore. Apparently, and it's inconsistent, but most links, especially ones that have been made after this change has been made...
Dude, we probably seem like such Twitter nerds, like fanboys at
Here's
this
the
point.
Thing. I just like to be able to use the internet. And Twitter is just so popular of a website. It's kind of like when you're looking for images on Google and they always lead back to like Pinterest or Instagram. I don't care about either of those websites. Twitter I care about a little bit more because some people I know, some personalities are active on Twitter.
Exclusively.
Yeah. But so I like having access to Twitter because it gives me access to information and to people and their resources and their content. But right now, I cannot consistently follow any link to Twitter and actually trust that it'll let me view anything because I don't have an account. And this is the newest thing, is essentially you have
I can't fact check that because I have a Twitter account, so I've never tried to.
Well, here's the thing. It's inconsistent. I have some old things that I've saved, like to like reference material, like images and stuff that I wanted to like refer back to that are from various websites. And I checked some that were from Twitter. And those old links, they'll let me view them. But if I click on the channel they're from, it blocks me. And if I click on any link to Twitter now that seems recent, especially to a person's account, it blocks me and takes me to a login page. So, as of now, it seems like they're in a weird, halfway, like, almost beta process of making it so you just can't view anything without an account.
See, my normal response to that would be... I apologize if there was noise in the microphone, by the way. I was lifting it up to give to Jonathan because he's, as always...
Too far away.
Leaned like 10 feet back in his chair away from the microphone, so it probably sounds
you
like...
always say...
Probably sounds like we're in Plato's cave. But listen, normally I would be like, just make an account. And I mean, I still will say, just make an account. Like
I know.
I don't know what's holding... If you use Twitter... and want to keep track of things on Twitter.
I think the reason I care is the reason you're about to care. They have a
service for you, man. They have a service for you. It's called making an account so you can keep track of things on Twitter.
Yeah, but I don't want to make an account on this. This app is going downhill fast.
Well, you act like it's some kind of like business investment. Like there's no risk to you in making an account. But I understand you're going to be like the lizard people in the government because you're off the deep end with that stuff. But I have always thought that that's bad platform design. For example, like Facebook and Instagram, I believe, have always done that, where you just straight up cannot see. I think with Facebook, some public communities and posts you can see. I don't know, but
one of my, if I can just interject,
but like with Facebook or Instagram, and I think it used to be with TikTok, but not anymore. You couldn't just view, like, you couldn't view things without an account, or you couldn't view things just on the web. You had to have the actual app to be able to view content. Like, and that's how it actually is for the new social media platform by Meta that I assume we're going to talk about.
What? Dude, I haven't even heard about this.
That I've heard, there's no way to view it on the web whatsoever. You have to exclusively view it through the app, which I just think is clunky and stupid. I mean, I personally, I much prefer using a PC over a phone. So when I have the ability to, I would rather view something on an actual computer, just because it's easier to navigate than a phone. So being able to, like with Snapchat, which Snapchat now made Snapchat on the web, but Snapchat used to be exclusively on a mobile app. And it was always like, well, what if I really wanted to send somebody something that I had, like, a file on my computer? And it's just way more steps to, like, upload something, like post something to Instagram when you have to do it through a phone versus a computer. Yeah. And again, with Instagram, too, I think now they've made some kind of, like, creator platform interface where you can upload from PC because, like, that makes sense. But that's my take on that. I just think it's, like, bad design because, I mean, unless you are, like, chronically phone addicted and you don't use computers at all, who would really rather navigate something on a phone than a computer? I mean, yes, phones are more convenient, but eliminating the computer option completely is just annoying most of the time for me. And that usually isn't a problem if, like, what you're talking about is that you can see it on the computer but not with an account. Usually the problem that you run into is if, like, for example, on Snapchat and Twitter and I think even Instagram now, they all have their own, like, built-in web browsers in the app.
Yeah.
And on those, you aren't going to be automatically logged in. So if you, like, click a link to Twitter in the Instagram app, then you won't be able to see it, for example, because you're not logged in, even if you have the Twitter app or whatever. So there's just like a whole layer of grossness that it
You
adds.
agree, it's not the best design.
Yes, I mean, it's obvious the idea of it is that they want you to make an account to use their platform, and I understand that. But I do think also from a usability, like if somebody just wants to link to you to see a post or something, and let's say you're just on a device or in some context where you aren't logged into your account, even if you have one, and then you can't see it at all, it's just kind of annoying. It just kind of defeats the like point of like being a public social media platform. So yes, I agree, but also I'll never understand why you hate making accounts. Like, you can.
Well, I'm about to tell you, because the thing is, like, my old
get Tor browser so they can't track your IP. Don't put in any personal information so they can't track you.
Everybody take notes.
There's ways, if you're really that crazy about the government lizard people stuff, like Jonathan is, there's ways to get around that.
Wait, here, I'll just go ahead and jump into this. It's less, and I know this is a less significant investment and less risk, but I don't want to make an account for something that I honestly think is going to crash and burn. Because, like, the app has seemed so dysfunctional lately. The entire interface and everything. Like, I was looking into this when I found out about the blocking everything behind an account. So I looked into this, and there was actually quite a few changes that happened. They're all stupid. One of them being that they straight up pushed to the final, like, public version of Twitter an error that can lock you in an infinite loop. Like, imagine that happening. You're viewing Twitter and it like crashes your browser because you can't get out of it. That's crazy. That's like a whole other level of incompetency.
Wait, what do you mean? Like
an infinite loop in the code of like where it's like referencing stuff.
Oh, so just a crash, basically.
Yeah, that just seems so unprofessional.
Well, that's because
they've got these tight deadlines, and they're always like
Elon Musk fired 80% of their employees.
It's a small group of probably less talented people than what they started with, working under high demand in a short time frame. But because my previous least favorite thing used to be, and Twitter used to do this too, where you could view any page, but if you like scroll down to look at more stuff on the same page, like a list of posts or a list of images, media, they'd be like, whoa, you can't go any farther without making an account. But obviously this takes it even farther. But here's what I don't know if you know about this. And it sounds like it's already been implemented. There is like a limit to how much content you can view on Twitter.
Yeah, dude, you're a couple days behind on all this news.
Here's the thing: I wouldn't have reached that
because
limit.
it's gone away now.
Really?
He undid it like almost instantly because people were complaining.
Okay, but I did not hear about that.
It is really funny because the limit was something like 600 tweets an hour.
Yeah,
which is like an absurdly high amount.
Yeah,
I just have to say, if you're hitting that limit, like that might be a good thing. Like, you maybe need to sit back and evaluate. Like,
yeah.
You maybe need to.
Well, that's impressive.
Give a break for a second.
600 an hour, but that's 10 a minute.
Well, the thing is,
but assuming you're going nonstop,
the problem is if you go click on a tweet and you want to look through the replies and you're just scrolling through a bunch of replies.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily reading all of them, just like glancing or skimming through the replies.
Oh yeah.
You can run through a lot pretty fast that way.
Yeah.
So that, I think,
but that almost feels unfair because you're not really looking at them.
Right. That was the problem with it, because like just thinking about it, like 600 tweets an hour. Okay, you're not like just on your timeline going to look at 600 tweets in an hour unless you're A, not reading them, or B, have a serious issue. but then like scrolling through like replies, then that could get you to that number pretty fast. But I'm pretty sure very quickly he undid it or changed it in some way. But I think a lot of people misunderstood that, because I understand the point of doing that. It's to help with the bots that literally
exactly. That's what I was
they just automatically scrape through Twitter, scrape through tweets, and just automatically, scrape the image off of it, create a t-shirt link, and post it. Those bots that we talked about are on every single. If you put an image, I showed you one. What was it? Opera GX. Opera GX's Twitter account made some picture that was like, they literally just posted a PNG that was like, they put their logo on it. It's like, I hereby acknowledge that I'm infringing the intellectual
I
property
that.
of Opera, and I will be held liable or whatever. And sure enough, in the replies, there was a bunch of those bots that were like, go get the t-shirt, and it had that on it. And
it was the coolest thing
ever. It was so funny. But the idea, obviously, is to counteract that. And I'm sure that I'm sure it did do that, but like with
honestly,
with a lot of additional consequences.
It's not a bad idea, and honestly, a lot of websites probably do. They just keep it really hidden behind the scenes, and they're a lot more like multifaceted in the way they check it. Yeah. But if you set a limit like that, like you said, is kind of ridiculous for any human being, then you can basically be certain that it's a bot. And maybe you set it a little bit higher.
Well, that's the problem. It's not. It's like it's in the middle area where it's not. It's sort of ridiculous for a human, unless, like I said, you're like scrolling through a bunch of replies on a tweet. But it's way too low for a bot. Like, I mean, a bot is probably viewing like tens of thousands of tweets per hour.
You could set it way higher.
You could set it way higher. And bottom line is just that there's way better ways to go about it. I mean, there's way better ways to detect. I should say way more nuanced ways. You know, that you shouldn't just rely on how many tweets are viewed.
Yeah, that's what I said. These kind of systems probably already exist in a lot of social media, but they're way more complex and multifaceted.
They do, because like Instagram has the same thing where it like can detect if your account is doing too many actions too rapidly. And it can be flagged, or it can be set off by human users. But the idea is to prevent bots from like overloading the systems.
And see, that's where this could have been like a good thing if it was presented better and polished better. But this is another classic case, and this is why I find this whole recent changes to Twitter interesting. It's because it's another classic example of Elon Musk like fumbling the reality stone, trying to bend things to look as good in his favor as he can. And literally just making it worse than it even is. Because he presented this, and his excuse for doing it, he didn't want to acknowledge that the bots, everyone knows it's the bots, that's why he did it. But he was trying to say, at least at one point, that it was to combat internet addiction. Which,
no way, I didn't see that.
I strongly agree that is a problem that some people have. But we already talked about why that's ridiculous. Because... I mean, yeah, maybe if you're that far gone, but most people aren't even that far gone. And also it's inaccurate because of like, scrolling through the comments, like you said. But furthermore, it's just obviously false. But then here's the thing, because during the time where this was implemented, people with I forgot what the check mark, verified account.
That's what I was about to say.
They could view more posts. So what, are they more immune to internet addiction? Why are you...
No, I was about to say, I didn't know if you knew that, but that was what I was going to conclude with, is that everything that we just set aside, you completely bypass the limit if you have a blue check mark, which most of the bots spamming t-shirt links and stuff do have a blue check mark. Because guess what? If they are scamming and spamming, then the $8 a month, they're getting a return on it, so it doesn't matter. Like, obviously, they'll pay the $8 if what they're doing is working and they're making money off of what they're doing. Then the $8 is not enough to
be a setback.
What's even the term? To discourage them from doing it. So the whole limit was stupid in the first place because people with Twitter Blue, aka bots with Twitter Blue, could ignore the limit anyway. So.
One thing I've noticed is that a lot of social media that people actually like are often run in such a way that they're almost running on a deficit or frequently have trouble making money. Because obviously people don't like having like invasive ads and like anti-consumeristic stuff put into something that they regularly use. But Elon Musk, he really wants to make money off of Twitter.
You just can't stop looking at me.
He really wants to make money, and I'm sorry. But so he just loves these blue check marks, but he hates these bots. And he doesn't realize that they're the same. The bots are the check marks. And it's so funny.
I think
because like that was the thing. He, like I said, he could have thrown this in and at least worded a little bit better to say it was like an anti-bot practice. And then it would, albeit a little clumsily, seem like an okay strategy. But he just couldn't resist making the verified checkmark all that more appetizing by saying, "Hey, but you can bypass this if you're verified." Not realizing that not only does that make his decisions seem stupider by trying to like cover it up behind that because of all the conflicts and hypocrisies behind it, but he's once again just giving the bots a workaround that they can totally afford and that totally works for them.
Well, I just feel like he's come up with so many things that could be effective if
he's throwing everything
if they were
at it.
Executed differently. Because I mean, paid subscription services are like the business model nowadays. Even social media, like Twitter's not the first thing to have. Like YouTube has YouTube Premium to bypass ads or whatever. So like the Twitter Blue, that could have been a thing. That could have been a thing, and it would have been fine. Like you could have some kind of subscription service for Twitter that I'm sure some people with enough money or that like Twitter enough would pay for, especially businesses would pay for, that offers some kind of incentive, not some kind of incentive that's like literally boosting their posts above other people, like unfairly in a way that is it kind of antithetical to the idea of free speech.
It has like the Switch Online incentive problem. The incentives are either non-existent or they feel unfair or stupid.
Well, yeah, but then on top of that, it's all done under the guise, instead of pitching it as like it's just a subscription service, it's like it's a verification service, which it shouldn't be. He should have, if he wanted to do that, he could have called it a subscription service, and that's what it would be. But it's not a replacement for a verification service. There could be a subscription service and a verification system on top of it. And I just think it's ridiculous that he said, okay, let's get rid of verification and just make it completely subscription. And instead of there being any verification, we'll just say people that are subscribed are verified. When those are two different things. There could be somebody who's not a verified account and subscribes to Twitter. There could be somebody who's a verified account and doesn't subscribe to Twitter. Like, that's what I think is the infinitely smarter idea. I'll never understand why, in the first place, he thought that buying a subscription service would be good enough as saying that you're verified. Like, he had to have known that it's just a way to get people to buy it, because then they'll be able to wave it around like they have some kind of authority. Which is a very stupid way of trying to sell a product, because it destroys your own platform. Have
you heard about how people say that he could get in like legal trouble? This is way back now. I don't think it's going to happen anymore. But because when he first implemented the new way checkmarks work, he like took all the legacy checkmarks away just for like a day or just like a brief period, and then brought them all back to almost make it appear that all those people who previously had legacy check marks, got them removed, and then bought them back as like a way to make it seem like more people were on board with it, which is illegal, actually. It's considered false advertising.
Yeah, and then when he changed it to just say that they subscribed to Twitter Blue, even if it was a legacy check mark.
Yeah, that especially. That's what sells it, really. I think what ties all of this together, though, everything that we've ever said about Twitter, and every time we talk about Twitter, I hope we never talk about it again. It's like AI, but there's always something new.
We have to talk about Threads.
Oh, well, here, let me wrap up, because I was going to say, while we're on the topic of, unless this relates back to bots somehow, Elon Musk is like, he's at this perpetual war with the bots, but he's doing all of this stuff out of necessity. Like it was a last ditch effort, putting out this like viewing limit to like stop the bots, because there was a huge influx. Obviously, the bot problem has never been worse. Like, you already said that before, but it's like the proof is in the pudding now. And what is the only thing Elon Musk has changed that could possibly have an influence on that he hasn't stepped back on or changed in any way? And it's the verification process. It's literally boosting people who are willing to invest financially in Twitter, who are always the bots and the scammers. And so that's why the fact that he's not willing to see that he either needs to get rid of it or if he still wants to make Twitter more profitable, at least adjust it to something like you said, where it's like separate from a subscription service. Is kind of just hilarious.
There are like
and I think
few aspects of it that are like subscription service benefits, like higher video streaming quality. So it's almost like there's just like a few tiny things that are thrown in there that are like typical subscription service benefits, and then the rest is all just verification. So
higher free speech stats.
Yeah,
it's always funny thinking back about how like his slogan, his motto, his platform, when he was campaigning for Twitter was like, "I will bring free speech." It was hilarious in context, it's hilarious in retrospect. But
I think
they're not talking
something
about...
just broke. Something like something glass or something.
They're yelling in the background.
Shattered.
But I was just going to say, because it's obvious why he doesn't want to get rid of the system entirely, because he wants to make money. But the only reason I can imagine why he's not willing to even compromise it or change it or adjust it, even on his own terms, based off his own, if the reason he might not be willing to do it on his own ideals is because, honestly, he has no experience with the social media running. It's hilarious because he really has no idea what he's doing. He's betting it all on people that he's fired half of. But the real reason I sometimes think that he's not willing to compromise on this at all is just because he hates compromise. Anytime anybody contests him on any change on Twitter, he just bashes them.
Oh yeah.
It's like he's so unprofessional.
He definitely just doesn't. I mean, this whole thing is basically just a giant spiral of dissent of him not wanting to admit that he's wrong. So it's just endlessly doubling down on the Twitter blue.
He's just LARPing being king of the world.
It all started with okay, Twitter needs to make more money. So how about we charge people money to use Twitter or to be verified on Twitter? That will be a good way of getting people to make money, right? Wrong. It wasn't. Okay, let's try harder. Okay, that didn't work. Let's continue to try hard. Oh, now there's bots who are abusing the platform and abusing the verification subscription service. Let's continue to double down somehow on it.
Yeah, just doubling down after doubling down.
At some point, it's like, if you go back to how Twitter was before, just reinstate all the old verification, go back on everything, keep the Twitter blue, see what happens, but go back on all of the verification stuff, back when Twitter was literally doing way better, and it's it's pretty reasonable to think if he literally snapped and undid all of it, that Twitter would immediately start doing better again.
Yeah.
That seems obvious. He has the power to just go back to when it was doing better, and he doesn't. So that's just definitive proof that it's all about not being wrong. It's just endless doubling down because he just really thinks, I guess, eventually that this will work out for him.
It is crazy, actually. I'm just now realizing just how much of an ego flex this is. Because I said just a little bit ago, he's LARPing being king of the world, but he's already king of the world. He's the richest person in the world. But he can't flaunt it on the masses and exert power over them directly because he's off on his yacht or whatever, somewhere else. So this is just his way to show exact power over the people directly. And it just seems so spiteful.
Man, we talk about Twitter every episode.
And when we still have to talk about Threads. Make it fast. Make it snappy.
So you have no idea what Threads is?
No, I haven't heard about this. That or I just don't recognize it based off your phrase.
It's actually been in the works for some time. It was sort of rumored. I mean, not even rumored. People knew that it was happening, that it was being developed. But it's by Meta, a.k.a. Facebook, a.k.a. Instagram. It's a new app that was being developed by them that is their own version of a Twitter clone, just like Mastodon.
Oh my goodness.
And Blue Sky.
Oh my goodness.
All of those other things have popped up. All the Twitter clones.
Guys, this is it. The fight between Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. When it happens, it's going to just be a big promotional stunt for Threads versus Twitter.
That's actually how it started, because the public was made aware of this project that they were working on, this new app, Threads. But it's officially released now. So it's Threads by Meta, and it basically functions just like Twitter, but it has the interface and style of Instagram. In a lot of ways, it has a lot of similar features to Instagram. So it's basically like Instagram, Twitter.
But it won't have community notes or whatever.
It won't. So
exactly. I mean,
literally from a preliminary,
the one good thing
from a preliminary glance, it's just like, okay, it's the Twitter formula, but it's not Twitter. So the problem with any of these platforms trying to compete with Twitter, it's like the problem is that Twitter is the king of the hill right now. Twitter has everybody on it.
It's currently falling down the hill,
Twitter
hitting all the twigs and
but
sharp thorns
it's still there
the
because it has all of the posts, all of the content.
It has the same thing that every American business has, which is just we're used to its name, so we stick with it.
Well, no, not just that. I'm saying literally every tweet.
Oh yeah, you're saying it also has the backlog. Like it's just too convenient to stay where everything already is.
It's an archive.
That's another thing.
No, it's an art. Well, let me finish a sentence. It's an archive of internet history from literally like whenever it released. I don't remember when Twitter went public, but for the past decade and more, it is literally a giant archive of everything. And anybody that's already on it already has a giant backlog of posts and everything. It's just like for a competitor to and this has always been the problem with YouTube competitors as well. For a competitor to try to come in and really overtake the platform or even show any kind of meaningful competition, it takes a massive force because the simple fact is just like these new platforms don't have the backlog, and without the backlog there's like you're just gonna it's just gonna feel empty. It's just gonna feel like a empty platform for the time being. So if they can hold it out long enough that it starts to get populated, then we'll see. But
honestly,
so far it's just a bunch of brands. It's like very brand dominated, a bunch of brands making the same corny jokes that they make on Twitter. I've seen several thread. What are I wonder what they're called. The tweets on thread. Threads?
Yeah, because a thread is like a group of. Ooh.
I've seen several posts.
They need to work on the naming.
Already from Ellen DeGeneres. That look like they're from like 2013. Like the way
Ellen,
she's talking.
stay in your grave, please.
I know.
Please.
People are literally making jokes.
She doesn't even have her show anymore, does she?
Yeah, people were making jokes like the new platform dropped and it was like she saw it as her chance to try to get relevant again.
Oh my
But she's literally tweeting like it's 2012. It's so bad. Or threading. I don't know.
Threading? I kind of like that.
It's not bad.
Threading. Yeah, it's not terrible.
But yeah, so that's the new platform. I don't think. Here's the thing. I think it's going to do way better than like Mastodon or Blue Sky or any of the other alternatives that try to show up to Twitter because it's owned by Meta.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They
already have massive backing behind it. And here's the real big kicker. This is the one thing that gets close to the backlog or the archive, which is that if you already have an Instagram or Facebook account, you automatically have a Threads account because they're all linked together. Kind of like Instagram, Facebook have always been linked together. Now Threads is part of that where it's linked to your account. So it's very easy for new users to join, and it's all connected with Instagram and Facebook, which has the backlog. So they do have all of that going for them, but it still just seems like it's going to be hard to have any real meaningful competition with Twitter. But Elon Musk, since you mentioned their fight, Elon Musk and Zuckerberg, Elon Musk has been throwing some heavy shade. Straight up calling out Mark Zuckerberg on Twitter, and Mark Zuckerberg has been doing the same on Threads back at Elon. But Twitter is actually threatening to sue Threads for stealing their intellectual property and trade secrets by creating Threads.
Where did they get trade secrets? Is there actual proof of that?
It makes it sound like that because
listen, I just did a bunch of like training videos for my job, and the here's the thing I'm concluding here, because first of all, I wanted to say a while back, and I'm probably interrupting you, but I wanted to say a while back that I know it would take a big company like Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, now Meta, to do something like this that would actually stand a chance. But here's the thing. As much as I dislike Elon Musk and the decisions he's made, anything with Meta slapped on it is like a seal of disapproval to me. I honestly, just the fact that you say it's from Meta is like, okay, I'm staying on Twitter.
It's somehow worse because I really want to avoid Facebook creating a social media monopoly where they
Monopoly. Yes, that's the
where they
thing
own every kind of, like, they will have the Instagram, they will have the TikTok, they will have the Twitter, like every genre of social media. Facebook is trying to create. I mean, they've already done it with Instagram Reels, or like the TikTok short videos.
Yeah, it's kind of like what YouTube is doing a little bit with getting on the streaming sides and the short sides, but they're at least staying within visual media.
YouTube's really not there, and Instagram. So far, what it has been lacking is the Twitter genre and like the YouTube genre style of social media platform. But now they're making the Twitter. It's like, I definitely see this as Facebook or Meta is trying to become like the Google of social media.
Yeah.
Where it's basically a monopoly, but I mean, it's basically like you make one account and you have all these platforms of social media that are all connected under Meta. And for that reason, yeah, I'd take Twitter over that. Like, I would much prefer that to be different companies,
dude,
for a number of reasons. But
monopolies are so bad. Like, it's becoming such a thing. Because here's the thing, you were talking about how everything is on Twitter, like archivally speaking, and that's almost like a monopolistic thing, because you can't get that anywhere else. It would be if you tried to like make a system that would take every YouTube video, and that's why you could never. A YouTube competitor would never take off, because all the good YouTube videos are already on YouTube. You'd be starting over from scratch, but it would absolutely be considered like a, I don't know if there's a term for this, but I'm sure it would be illegal if you like had some system that scraped everything off of YouTube and put it on a new media.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But here's the thing, that means no one's ever going to beat YouTube, because they have everything, and you will always have to start with nothing. And that's why this trade secrets and monopoly stuff, this is another one of my out there ideas. I'm about to get radical again. But everything should be open source, because that is the only way I can see us ever truly being like anti-monopoly. Because as soon as these big companies, they have everything all settled together, they have everything, and they will always have everything. And every person who tries to fight them will always start off with nothing. And you're never going to beat everything with nothing. So how are you ever supposed to have a potentially valid competitor overtake...
Wait. So now this is crazy, because in this case, Twitter is the thing that has everything, but you're also saying that Meta is a monopoly. So who are you favoring here? Because it's basically monopoly versus monopoly then.
Well, yeah, this is an interesting scenario, because I would appreciate what Threads is doing if I didn't know their master plan. But what this ultimately stemmed from was how...
You can talk into the mic, bro.
I am. I'm staring at it. What are you talking about?
Okay.
What this ultimately stemmed from is I think Elon Musk's claims about their monopolization, specifically from like taking trade secrets or whatever, is probably bogus. And it should be bogus anyways, because otherwise no one would ever be able to compete to them. The things that make Meta monopolistic are completely independent of them trying to compete with Twitter. And I wish that that was apparent, because then people who weren't Meta, who didn't have everything in a different category, weren't the only ones who stood a chance against Twitter. You could actually have people who aren't already like partial monopolies standing up against Twitter and trying to make something better, but they just don't have the resources.
So do you not think that like 100% copying all of the mechanics of Twitter, like verbatim, you don't think that is any kind of infringement of intellectual property or intellectual rights?
Let me put it this way. Let's say a big company is doing 90% of things right, but they refuse to do the 10% right. And you know how to do 100% right. But they're like, you took 90% of our ideas. Well, I'm sorry, they were good ideas. I'm not just going to make that 90% bad because it's anti-competition or whatever. No, that's pro-competition. I'm showing that I can do what you do better. So you better either step up your game or get out of here, because I'm about to beat you, because I can do this right. And that's what I think people should be able to do.
But there's a line between taking what you do and doing it better and literally copying exactly what you're doing and then making it better.
How exact are we talking? Because I mean, like, Twitter's interfaces and stuff are so, like, bog standard. Like, would you really expect them to change that much if you were to make a better interface or a better type of social media?
Well, that's the question. That's where it gets into nuance. But what I'm saying is there's very little legal precedence on this. So it's something that if this lawsuit were to happen, it would create the legal precedence for this, because as far as I know,
this is a deciding moment.
There has been no cases of where a social media platform has sued another based on them copying that.
So this is pivotal. This is a turning point.
Instagram's Reels are literally a complete direct ripoff of TikTok, to the point that I would say it is some kind of intellectual property infringement. I personally believe that, because here's the thing. They took literally the lengths of videos. On TikTok, you have 10-second, 30-second, 60-second videos. Instagram directly copied that. The interface down to the arrangement of the buttons. On the side, you have the like, comment, reply, and then at the bottom you have the little audio tab that says who the audio creator is. And it is exactly...
But here's the thing.
One for one, exactly what TikTok's interface is.
Here's the thing.
I do believe that is some kind of infringement, although I don't believe that there's legal precedence to say so, unless it was decided by a court.
I definitely think style-wise they could go further, but as far as just convenience and layout-wise, that's what I'm saying, though. What if that is literally just what people want? That is just the best way to make this kind of app. Then are you saying that in order to compete with this company, you literally have to consciously choose to make things worse? Because that's what I think is unfair, then.
What if that's the... Well... If that's what people want, then the platform that originally created it has the rights to that interface. Well, no, because they created it.
Well, here's
what I'm saying.
What you gave is a bad example because it's literally exactly the same. But I'm saying, what if somebody has everything that Twitter has and more?
Okay.
But then because they have everything Twitter has, it's no, you can't do that.
To be clear, I think that Twitter and Threads is slightly less of an obvious ripoff than Instagram Reels and TikTok.
Yeah, and that's why I said it's probably bogus.
Slightly less.
Especially coming from Elon.
But, if TikTok wanted to make a case against Instagram Reels, I think they could have a genuine case there. I'm no lawyer, so I could be very wrong about that. But again, I don't think there's legal precedent.
See, and I actually agree with you.
I don't think there's legal precedence one way or... What? Okay.
That's the garage in the background, if you can hear it.
It
jump scared Jason twice.
I don't think there's legal precedence to say whether it is or not, so I think that's what you have to figure out. But let's just say I believe there is 100% a case you can make to say that it's copyright infringement of some kind.
What here? That's what I need to add is.
Can I just say this?
We're stammering.
I have to put in a disclaimer because you have not even seen this app. You didn't know it existed until now.
That's true.
So you've never seen it. You have no idea to what extent it is a copy of Twitter. So you're making this judgment literally out of complete blindness. I don't even know how you really can make a judgment because you have not even seen the app.
I need to express something. I am worried because, like you said, this could set a precedent. I don't want it to become set in stone in the legal eyes after this case, that any service that is essentially offering the same features is a copycat and should be held liable for that.
It's not just the features. It's down to the exact design, the layout of the interface and everything. And that, I believe, is where it falls into the line of copyright infringement. Okay. I think you can make a service that provides text-based posting like Twitter. Like at the core of it, that's what Twitter is. And, if you stretch that definition far enough, you could say any social media is a duplicate of Twitter. Instagram allows you to post text with images, just like Twitter does. You if you really want to stretch it, you could say that. So I'm not at all saying that. But if you literally take a website's design, layout, everything to a T,
yes,
even down to the system of the way it uses usernames, the way it uses tags, the way it uses hashtags, the way
again, that is
all of that. To some point, yes, there's a standard of how social media operates, but then there's some point where you cross a line and it's literally just deliberately, completely copycatting another website. I don't think that should be allowed.
Here's the thing where and
I don't think that's preventing competition because Threads could make a Twitter alternative. Meta could make a Twitter alternative. Excuse me. Call it Threads, whatever. Make it noticeable enough that it's this is trying to emulate what Twitter does. But it doesn't have to literally look identical, function identical in every single way. And arguably, it's probably better. But what they're doing, and I feel like this is just more evidence that it's infringement. What they're doing is they're like, we can literally just copy Twitter exactly. Like we can literally just rebuild Twitter, reprogram it, and because it's not Twitter and it's not Elon Musk, some people will probably like it a lot more, so they'll use this instead of Twitter. So we can literally just rebuild Twitter for ourselves, and then people will use it because it's not Twitter. That's basically the entire strategy of what they're doing. So with that in mind, with it in mind that their literal intention is to rebuild Twitter as exact as possible, I feel like it's pretty hard to argue that that's not some kind of infringement.
Okay, well, yeah, in that category, I actually do agree with you completely. I just have a annotation on top of that, essentially, which is I do believe that anything that is trying to replicate to a T an existing service without offering anything new, especially where there's no difference in design, aside from the bare minimum, I do think that should essentially be seen as like a media plagiarism and should be treated as much. But here's the thing. I think if it does offer something new, I think if any, pretty much.
Can I just show you this really quick?
Yeah.
The profiles look almost identical other than the profile pictures on the other side. It has the bio, it has the username tag, it has the follow button, and then it has like the DM button, I guess, or the mention, I guess, is like for tagging people. This, exactly Twitter. It has the tweets, the replies, and then the retweets. That's exactly Twitter.
A lot of that, though, is like I said, though, it's just so standard and basic. Like, Twitter is already just
the bottom here, very similar to Twitter's bottom layout. Now here, if you look at the buttons on it, it has the tweet, right? The profile picture, the name.
What kind of logo is that? A little scribble?
With an @
Ah.
And then it's got the tweet information. It's got the 3 dots in the corner, exactly like Twitter. And then it's got like, comment, retweet, literally retweet, and send or share, which is the exact buttons. And
well, I'm sure they call it like repost or something.
Yes. Oh, I know it's not retweet, obviously. What kind of gotcha was that? But
here's what I'm saying.
Dude?
I feel like you can't improve these features, and they're so basic and bland, white background, gray lines. It's not like they're really copying a style anyways. It's like the default. What I'm saying is that should be plagiarism. I agree with you. But here's the thing.
You're spitting all over me.
If they offered anything new that Twitter doesn't have... By the way,
I do disagree that you can't rework that in any way. I completely disagree.
You can. I'm just saying you don't necessarily need to. And if you are...
But I'm saying if you don't, then you're copying.
But no, here's the thing. If you just use a stylistic thing to cover up the same features, then to me that just feels like rewording the same essay and counting that as not plagiarism, which it is, if you know anything about how plagiarism works. You can't just like reword the exact same... You know, like if somebody writes an entire essay and you just reword the whole thing, that's still plagiarism.
It's called paraphrasing without citation.
Yeah, exactly.
And what I'm saying is... Perfect example. I'm saying Threads is paraphrasing Twitter without citation. They're literally taking what Twitter did and rebuilding it completely.
Well, that's interesting though, because it's not
an original idea or original content.
It's not like that's a thing. See, here's the thing. I'm kind of anti-patent because I think patents are like anti-competition because, like I said, they make it so people can't try their hands at an idea themselves. But that's what I'm saying is, in its current state, it basically is plagiarism, and I agree with you with that. But if they offered, and this is why I'm not really supporting them, along with them just being meta, is if they offered anything new that made them like a unique experience from Twitter, while still having all of the old stuff Twitter had, I would think that would justify, because then, in my eyes, that is competition. Because they are not trying to leech off of Twitter's success anymore. They're saying, hey, we can do everything you can do and better. Step up your game. Competition. No. That's what capitalism is about.
I still think they have to, in some way, be transformative of the original content.
But here's the thing. If the system that Twitter has is just the best way for the system to be, then you're telling them...
You can't just make Smash Flash 2, where you steal Nintendo's characters and put them in a game, but, I added Goku, which is more than you put in Smash Bros., so it's not copyright infringement. No, it's still copyright infringement, because guess what? You stole the entire game and all of their characters. That's what I'm saying they're doing with Threads. If you steal the entire baseline of what it is and then add something onto it, okay, you added something onto it, but guess what? You still stole the entire baseline.
But here's the thing. Twitter is popular because everyone loves all the features and the design that they have. What you're basically saying is anyone who wants to compete with them will have to consciously make their program worse in the eyes of the people they're trying to sell it to.
No. Twitter is not the exactly single right way that there is to make an app similar to Twitter.
Well,
Twitter does not have the objectively perfect platform.
It's good, and so I think any platform is going to look very similar to it.
Somebody could make it better, though. Or just transform it in some way where it's of equal quality, but it's not a direct ripoff. That's a thing that is possible.
I think if you look at anything that's trying to compete with something close enough, it will look like a ripoff. And here's the thing. I'm not saying Threads isn't a ripoff. I'm just saying I think your definition
I think you're thinking way too far inside the box. I think you're trained to believe that all social medias have to function the same way because as of yet they have. I haven't seen one social media platform ever think outside of the box. They all function under the same exact
I love it when they think outside of the
platform box. And system. Like all social media, you can pick up a new social media and it works exactly systematically the same as every other social media you've ever used. I've never used Facebook, but I could make a Facebook account and instantly know how it works just because they all function identically almost.
Exactly. You're making my point for me. And if they don't have that functionality, then you're driving away
I'm saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that's not a good thing necessarily.
Yeah, but exactly. It is a definitively bad thing for business. So how are you supposed to compete with these services if you cannot prosper?
By changing it. That's my whole point. By changing it.
Dude, completely revolutionizing things is like a flash in a pan on a blue moon if it'll work out financially for you. And like, good for you if you go for that. But what if you literally just want to improve something that already exists and the people who own it are never going to improve it themselves?
Well, you can't do that just by stealing their work. That's just not how it works legally.
But then it'll just never happen. And then where's the competition in that? You'll just have to put up with a bunch of rich dirtbags kicking their feet back and saying, "We won, boys."
You just make something that's innovative. I don't understand what's so mind-blowing about that to you.
I feel like this is like, what was the conversation we had about...
the Legend of Zelda movie.
Oh, yeah, and like relating it to Marvel's characters' popularity. We're just on a different page. We're not understanding the thing. And here's the thing. We're not going to go back into that conversation.
Would I defend Elon
but I went back and I listened to that conversation and I understood why we both didn't understand each other a lot more. So I might listen to this on the playback and be like, oh, I get where we were both coming from now. Well, but can I just say congratulations? We have now talked about Twitter for an hour.
I understand that you think that companies should have the right to try to improve on what somebody else has done. I just don't think that the right way of doing that is by copying it verbatim and then just barely throwing something onto it to make it different in such a blatant way as what Threads has done with Twitter.
Hold on. Because here's the thing. I've been constantly saying Threads is a bad example. Threads is like plagiarism in my eyes. But I am saying that I feel like the way you are describing it, that some things that do offer a lot more but are still based on the same foundation would still be plagiarism in your eyes. And that's scary to me, especially if the legal precedent following this potential suing sets in that same mindset, because then people who are trying to do something new but still within the same realm might be caught up in that and be treated as plagiarizers.
I think we're basically describing the same thing, because I think if you add enough onto, say, Threads, then it would become different than what Twitter is.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, but I mean, like, I wouldn't mind if some features were the same, though. Like, even the order of the repost buttons.
I'm just saying, if you literally copy Twitter and you literally just add bells and whistles to it and call it something different, I'm saying that's just copying it. If you add enough to it in the sense that you're literally changing how the app works, in my mind, that's transformative.
Yes.
So you call it adding, but I call that transforming. So I guess maybe when you're saying adding, you're meaning that. I'm saying if you add enough to it that you're actually changing at a more base level how it works and broadening the scope of it, then that's a lot different than just adding bells and whistles onto it, which is what Threads has done. Has just been adding bells and whistles onto an existing platform.
And I think the reason why I'm getting up in arms like this is because anytime there's like a legal definition of something, like we keep throwing around plagiarism. I don't know what it's actually called when it's like a software like this, but like the term transformative, that's so subjective. So when you are like...
It is. That's why I'm saying there's no legal precedent. When you take this to court,
and you want a legal precedent, it's basically up to the opinions of the masses, or more specifically...
The jury.
The jury, and possibly even the judge, and the lawyers' arguments. And, they say the richer people buy the better lawyers, and they get things their way. And so that's why it's scary, because then you think that these big companies could just spin anything to look non-transformative if they have the money and the power. And that's where I'm concerned. Because then something that is genuinely transformative could just be treated as like this Threads, where it's just a copy.
Well, now you're just getting into an argument about the justice system. But
yes, that's where all of my arguments eventually
assuming that the justice system is balanced enough that two lawyers of equal standing could spar off in this lawsuit, then I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Well, but here's the thing. If this is a startup that's trying to be the new transformative take on something versus the big giant that's been there since the dawn of the ages, those aren't going to be equal standing lawyers. Because one is going to have a lot more resources than the other.
The problem is not the lawyer themselves, but that one of them is going to have a massive legal team.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm simplifying it down to one person, but you know what I mean.
I also think that a startup probably has an advantage in that they're not going to be paid much attention to. You know? Like Blue Sky, Mastodon. Elon Musk has never said anything about Blue Sky or Mastodon, even though they're direct Twitter ripoffs. Maybe even more so than Threads.
True, but any ones that actually have a chance of taking down the bigger or competing.
Once they get to the point of actually threatening Twitter, that's when legal arms come out. But once they get to that point, then they might have the legal team for it.
Yeah.
So
it all depends. There's a balance. Will they be powerful enough when it happens? Will it happen when? Will they spot them early? Who knows? We're getting all wrapped up in hypotheticals. And as I said, we have talked about Twitter for seemingly an hour now.
Well, that's basically the whole podcast.
A tornado happened earlier today. Let's change the topic to that.
It did. That's pretty much it. It's sunny and bright now. So.
Yeah, there was like a very brief... I don't think a tornado actually happened, but there was a tornado warning, which... usually means that they're pretty sure one's going to happen.
What did you think of the Colleen Ballinger apology?
Oh, just where she plays ukulele or whatever? I have not looked into that.
Did you like it? It was pretty fire.
I make a point of not like getting into people's drama if I don't even know who they are, but it is hilarious.
Well, here's what I want to say. I watched the video, and then I knew about the video. I watched the video of that guy who does the Guitar Hero. Or the Clone Hero, the mod of Guitar Hero, whatever it is.
Clone Hero.
Yeah, Clone Hero. That's what I said. Somebody uploaded a Clone Hero track that is just the apology with all the notes on the ukulele transposed into a Guitar Hero track. And he did it, and I thought it was really funny.
He is hilarious.
So then I went to listen, because I hadn't watched the full video. And I was like, wow, this is longer than I realized.
Oh, man.
And, wow, she wrote, like, a lot of lyrics to it. Like, you can tell she wrote, like, she painstakingly, she put some effort into this song, which is crazy. But then I was like, there has to be a Genius page for this. And I looked it up, and people made a Genius page for the song.
Way!
Toxic Gossip Train, as it's called, because that's what the chorus, that's the main thing she says in the chorus. So
I don't think I've ever
People have wrote down all of the lyrics, and there's so many hilarious annotations on the lyrics.
Dude,
so I just want to plug this. If you have the time and you would find it funny, go check out the Genius page. And there's so many annotations that are just absolutely ridiculous, funny stuff that people have written, just like dunking on her and stuff. It's hilarious. Go do that. That's all I really have to say about it. But that was like the best discovery ever.
I'm just gonna say I've never been like less capable of understanding a person's like mindset behind something. Like a person's brain has never seemed more distant from mine. Like how can anyone think that? Like I don't even need to know the context. You're right. You're wrong. It's a serious matter. It's laughable. I don't know. It's just when is it ever logical to like address drama through song like that? It's just so out there.
Well, I guess she thought it was clever because she was like, my lawyers advised me that I can't talk about this, but they never said I can't sing about it. The toxic gossip train.
Dude,
speeding down the tracks of
her lawyers are just like, they've got their hands in their head in their hands. They're like weeping softly.
I saw somebody do a skit where they were like, pretending to be her lawyers, and they were like, oh, what happened? What did I miss? Why does she have a ukulele? And they're like,
oh no, that is like, hilarious,
dude. We never
told
her she couldn't sing. And he's like, no. EDP also apologized.
Wait, hold on. What? What
that statement should give all of you collective whiplash.
Yeah, I just did.
This is like breaking news because I think
breaking news.
I unfortunately saw this from Keemstar, but this like as far as I know just happened. Like,
didn't Keemstar say he was gonna like retire and then he didn't?
Yes. As of when we're recording this Sunday, July 9th. This is like very recent, but EDP, believe it or not, it's just crazy because he's gone. I mean, for like it's been like 2 years now of him doubling down, saying that he did nothing wrong, that it was all a setup, so on and so forth, trying his hardest to just recreate a personality online, making accounts
and then it was just
everywhere.
like, guys, it's real, and I'm sorry.
I know. I mean, it's been years of him doing that, and now he actually made an apology video. And here's the crazy thing. It is one of the better YouTuber apology videos I've ever seen. It's
wow.
And I part of it, I think, is because
I still think it's a little too late after all this time.
Well, yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Dream saying, I didn't cheat in that Minecraft speedrun. And he held it on and he was debating with, like, these scholars and starting YouTube drama.
He hired,
and then way later
he hired the statistician.
Yeah, who was, like, totally obviously biased in his favor and was, like, throwing out random stuff. But, and then,
well,
like...
actually, did you, the statistician...
Yeah, I think that's the right way.
The statistician that did it actually came out later and admitted that he just made mistakes, but it wasn't intentional, or so he says. So.
Okay. Yeah, if you can believe him. Which I won't necessarily say you shouldn't. But, and then, like, it was like a year, maybe 2 years later, I don't know, I have a weird concept of time, and he was just like, guys, I was looking back through the backlogs, and as it turns out, I did have cheats on, and I just didn't realize... And, see, the thing is, when I first heard about this drama, I was like, I know this guy plays probably a lot of Minecraft mods and stuff. Is it possible he had something up in the background? And I was like, that would have been the first thing I checked. That was back when the drama was fresh, I thought that.
He literally so easily could have just said that it was a mistake and gotten... And
but he was so determined to have no one even question him.
And it's like, now it's to the point where...
I'm basically just convinced he knew.
We'll never know if it was a mistake or not because he made it worse on himself by arguing against it for
Well, no, because here's the thing. If it was a mistake, I don't know how it couldn't have occurred to him sooner. So now I'm just sold on the fact that it was intentional. And because I remember the first time I heard about Dream... Well, I can't believe we're talking about Dream.
I was talking about EDP, though.
Okay, let's go back to EDP. Well, dude, we're talking about EDP and Dream. What year is it?
I just want to say, I think it's because his personality has always been so raw and just like...
Raw?
He literally just seems like he turns on a camera and just talks.
Yeah. He's one of those types of
So I think that's why the apology seems more... Like, compare it to, like... somebody like Logan Paul, where it seems like, you know, a legal team wrote something up, like a PR team wrote something up for him, and he had to like read it off of a teleprompter. For the EDP apology, probably just seemed genuine because that's just the way he talks, and he's good at that. But man, yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch the full thing, so I don't know if he addressed the fact. Or explained why for 2 years he doubled down instead of apologizing, but he did finally apologize. I mean, it sounds about as sincere as it can get, honestly, for having denied it for 2 years and not apologized. But if you think I'm wrong, go ahead and watch the video. I mean, it's surprisingly sincere is all I'm gonna say. But that doesn't really excuse anything. I was just shocked, basically.
I might actually watch it.
I was just shocked.
I'm curious.
I guess just shocking how sincere it is coming after, you know, as I said, the 2 years of him, like, adamantly denying everything and coming up with the most crazy stunts to try. I mean, did you see, like, this was, like, 4 months ago or so. He came up with a whole, like, fake DMs or fake text messages with some guy where he was pretending that it was like an acting agency and that they were going to do some kind of meetup where he was going to have to be like just act as a predator and that this was all part of an audition for something. Like I
did hear about this. Yes.
He made up fake text for that and everything. It's like, you went to so much effort to deny it and now you're apologizing, but
the insanity of it all.
But I don't even know. I guess part of me is just glad that he's actually apologizing, just because, I mean, I guess that's a positive thing. You know, we've talked about this in the past. You know, I'm not gonna. If he is truly sorry and like he said he's like getting mental help and stuff, then that is an objectively positive thing. So I can't be mad at it.
Well, yeah, I think the big kicker would be for me if he did acknowledge the whole lying about it for 2 years.
Yeah, that part is
because otherwise
he needs to not leave that out.
This just seems like he ran through all the stupid ideas for how to get out of this. He was like,
I
got to do something smart.
Right.
Like, and he's just a sociopath. Right. Because, anyone can lie.
Right. That is the problem. That is the one problem with it that we'll never know. But we, in fact, will never know. But it didn't seem like it was fake. Who knows, but...
Speaking of fake, though, the thing I was going to say about Dream, so now we can put Dream in the thumbnail, because he's easier to draw than Elon Musk, and I have to put this up in, 2 days, and I have a job. And we can be, calling him names, pointing at him, and laughing in the thumbnail, and I'll get all the Dream stands all flooded, and it'll be like, oh, yeah. How dare you! But we'll get views out of it, so it'll, the algorithm will push it forward.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because the first thing you ever showed me about Dream was, that video where the insane, everyone's hunting me down while I try to win Minecraft. And you were telling me about how crazy the final scene was. And I was like, wow, that sounds scripted. And you know what? I'm pretty convinced it is now. I think he's just been doing this.
No. Well, I mean, that he's been open about.
Oh, yeah, he did eventually say that. But I mean, I knew it from the first second you described it.
But only at a certain point. I mean, the very first videos he did, at least... a few of the first videos he did were not scripted. I can say that with a high level of confidence, having watched them all. Obviously, there's no way to ever know. But back before he really was getting that popular, they genuinely didn't seem scripted. Like, if they were scripted, then it was really bad scripting because they could have been, they could have improved it a lot. But then at a certain point, I mean, it became very obvious. Like, this is way too entertaining to be just pure chance.
Oh, here.
And he did also say that they would record, multiple to get a good session of, the manhunt or whatever. So, the original ones I do think were real. But then he did actually acknowledge the fact that he started scripting them to make them more entertaining. Which is, if you're transparent about it, then and they're still entertaining, then I don't see a problem with that. So
yeah, fair enough. Dream's been an interesting little ride. And by that I mean very little has happened, but it's been interesting. He released a song that everyone hated. Then he did a face reveal.
Oh my goodness!
Then everyone hated his face.
We didn't talk about him putting back on the mask.
Yeah, and then some people...
We haven't talked about
some people said he tried to, groom fans or something, and then that just sort of, blew over.
Just fizzled
and
out.
There was, and then he didn't do anything. He just stopped existing. Like once the mask was off, Dream was dead.
Just so you know, though.
And then he put it back on, and now he's doing...
The mask taking off happened after the grooming allegations. Just so you know.
Oh, okay.
I have the whole
chronology. He's got the whole timeline.
Yeah, no, I think that... We didn't talk about this, but now's a good time to share it. Putting the mask back on, I 100% believe that it's another publicity stunt. Because he started posting videos like this one that everybody was making fun of him. He was shopping at Walmart with the mask on. He posted a video of him getting bananas, putting bananas in a cart and checking out and walking through Walmart with the mask on, and everybody's staring at him like he's a freak, right? There's no way this dude in his regular life, goes to Walmart with a mask on, because the strangers at Walmart aren't going to care. He's not that famous. So that's 100% just a publicity stunt. To just show, look, I'm wearing the mask again. Look at me in Walmart wearing my Dream mask because I'm Dream. So I actually genuinely believe he had this planned out. Face reveal, boom. Everybody sees his face, generates a lot of attention. Now, at some point, it's going to fizzle out and people are going to stop caring because it's just his face again, right?
Yeah.
Boom, put the mask back on. Another publicity boost.
No one cared who I was till I put on the mask.
I think it's all a ploy to always stay relevant. Because now that the mask is supposedly back on, guess what he can do in another 6 months? You know what, guys? I've come to embrace who I am and love how I look, no matter what people on the internet say. So I'm taking the mask back off. Boom, another.
He's just gonna keep putting it on and off.
Yeah.
He's gonna get facial reconstruction surgery each time, so it'll be a different face reveal. All those rumors about what his face looked like were actually real. He just had plastic surgery in between.
He used to say back in the day when he had only just hit like his first 1 million subscribers about like how he was like, ever since I started uploading, I've been studying YouTube and like the algorithm and like how to get popular.
Professional
so
YouTuber.
I've been like, this has
YouTube
all
school.
been planned out, and I literally have been planning out and timing out how I would and when I would get, 1 million subscribers or whatever. And I believe that, considering the way he got popular. If you look at his older videos, like he would make videos on other people. He made that one video that got viral that was on finding PewDiePie's seed, the world of PewDiePie's Minecraft, or the seed of PewDiePie's Minecraft world.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
That was Dream, and a lot of people even forget that was Dream, but that video got really popular.
I just did.
So, like, I genuinely do believe that he knew what he was doing, and so I think this is all still just part of him knowing exactly what he's doing, and I think it really is just a game that he's playing. He knows how to turn the tides.
Dude's just
play
following
the social media
bread
game.
Crumbs that the algorithm drops. Man, I struggled saying that.
So I 100% believe this is another methodical step in his plan to maintain relevance.
He's just doing the same functions, working on the same homework all these years.
Speaking of the algorithm, Mr. Beast, Chris Chandler, Carl, Nolan.
The thing that he did most recently though was he did that like multilingual
SMP.
Yeah. And that was the same time as the other guy started.
Quackity.
And they were like saying they copied one another.
Yeah.
And that started a whole drama.
I was actually going to talk about Mr. Beast though.
Oh, okay.
So
I was going to use Dream as another 2-point segue.
Well, we don't have time for both.
My segue dies. Sad.
Mr. Beast, I talked about that one video he made where he was literally just flying in planes.
Did he do it again?
No, but it's somehow worse. I think he's just devolving. Like, for a while, his content...
He's turning into an animal.
His content was getting very, helping people, donation, charity focused, like with the blindness, helping people's blindness video, and then what was the other one? Was it like deaf people? Or what was
I don't know. I don't keep
He did another one of them. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He did 2 of those. And so it's like, okay, he's really getting into the charity stuff now. And then he makes like the plane video. And then now he made a video. I don't know what the actual title is, but it's literally just like a montage of different videos where he blows stuff up, lights things on fire.
Oh my god. Dude, he has devolved. Like, that's like...
But he advertised it. He was like, go watch this video where I set off 10,000 fireworks in my house. That is one of the things he does in the video.
That is literally just like the rich person version of what he used to do.
Yeah.
Like saying the same thing over and over again.
Somebody commented, they were like, he used to break laptops, now he's blowing up fireworks in a house.
Yeah, exactly.
He has
devolved, but he kept the money.
Kids will watch a video that says lighting 10,000 fireworks in my house, because I remember when I was a kid, I used to love the videos when he was like putting 100,000 Orbeez in my friend's backyard, because like he used to do stuff like that. Well, I think he's returning to that kind of content because that's what his latest video is like. One of them is actually kind of cool, but still kind of ridiculous. There's like a table with like $100,000 on it. I mean, it's fake money, obviously. And then there's just a ring of like dynamite explosives around it. And he says, I guess they just pick some random guy or whatever. And they're like, okay, here's my credit card. You have $50,000 to spend on whatever you want to try to protect that money from being blown up by the dynamite. And you have like 2 hours or whatever to buy whatever you can with $50K to defend the money. So it's like real life video game, like building a fortress kind of thing.
That is interesting.
And that's an interesting challenge.
And if it survives, they get the $1,000.
Yeah, whatever survives of it, they get to keep. That's the whole challenge. So it's like, at least it's not literally just like, let's blow up explosives for fun. I mean, the fireworks in the house, I think that one was just for fun. I'm not sure. I didn't watch
this one you're saying actually does sound interesting. It's like gamifying one of those science educational
That's pretty cool. But here's the thing.
And then bringing in your audience.
Coming from the man who did Team Trees, Team Seas, Let's dump as much smoke and gunpowder into the air as possible. Yeah. Am I right?
Let's literally just fireworks. Take chunks out of the earth.
Like, holy cow! It's just so weirdly off-brand for what he's been in more recent years. You know,
I think everyone reaches a point in fame where they realize they have to do the wrong thing in order to continue becoming successful.
But it's like, I really like the idea of that the one with blowing up the money and like trying to defend it like that. Like, it is a cool idea. But if only there was a way you could do it that's just less destructive, you know? It just seems ridiculous. Because I know destruction gets views, but it just seems... It's just ridiculous, you know? I don't know. But I can say for sure that whatever he uploads, people will dog on him for. So I've done my fair share of dogging.
Dude, YouTubers are starting to become like memes.
Oh yeah, that's never happened before.
No. They're following a path, a life cycle similar to memes. I'm not saying they're becoming mimetic. That has been happening. But you know how, you know, back in the day there used to be memes that stuck around for whole years and like everyone would be there was like a meme community, but it was like just basically like people throwing around like rage comics and stuff. Now the meme community is keeping up with whatever today's 5 random memes of the month are that'll be dead and cringe the next month. I feel like YouTubers are getting an increasingly shorter and shorter lifespan. Like, I thought Mr. Beast would be around forever. And honestly, I feel like he's already become pre-irrelevant. Like, you know, like pre-cancerous, pre-irrelevant. Like, he's on the cusp. He's like, you can see it happening.
Interesting.
And like, because I remember...
I'm not sure, but I can see it.
I think there are just so many new people rising up, and the ones that rised up before are like so niche.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like with early YouTube, the few people who
like, do you remember that whole podcast where we had a whole topic talking about how Thomas Game Docs just showed up?
Yes.
And I'm not saying he's like irrelevant. He still gets views or stuff, but like no one. I feel like he's not. He doesn't hold the same.
He doesn't have
stance.
the same momentum as he did then.
He came and went. It's starting to become a 15 minutes of fame type thing.
I mean, that's kind of happening with the internet at large. Because like with TikTok popularity is so meaningless. Like 1 million followers on TikTok is practically nothing. Because
it's crazy.
I mean, like it's same with YouTube.
We're diluting everything in the social.
Back in the day, like 50K on YouTube was like way back in the day. I'm talking like early days of YouTube. 50K was like, okay, you're like one of the top dogs. And nowadays, it's like you can't even count the number of people who have 1 million subscribers or more, much less like 5 million. Even 10 million used to be, there used to literally be like 10 or 15 YouTubers that had over 10 million subscribers. Now there's at least probably like 100, if not more. Probably more than that. I'm curious to actually look that up. But yeah, the internet is just getting that chair, I mean, you are going crazy on that chair, dude.
Oh, sorry.
You have got to sit in a different chair because that is like...
That's what I'll buy. I'll buy a new chair.
The whole podcast.
Except I got this chair from our grandparents.
Well, you don't have to throw it away.
Sentimental.
But you should get a new one. Like, holy cow, that is constant noise.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's just getting diluted. So the next platform that I'm going to be careful with how I say this. Don't get mad at me. But the next platform that does something new and transformative will probably, like, if there's another, like, YouTube style thing, you know, the people who decide to get on there first be the trendsetters. We'll have a cultural reset, maybe.
I'm looking forward to the cultural reset. Cautiously optimistic. Should we end the podcast on that? We exceeded the 129 mark. Now people will be like, oh, that's closer to 2 hours. I'm scared. I'm off put.
Not quite. I think they can read enough to see 131. But, you know, it is a psychological thing, I guess.
Yeah. We got to get on the psychology.
Some people's minds are weaker than others.
Yeah. To all of the strong-minded folks out there who've been listening to you,
probably
we didn't get
0.
to introduce ourselves because we were too busy laughing at losing the new Super Mario Bros. Game cartridge. I've been the bro host.
I've been the co-host.
And we'll see you next time on The Escape Pod.
Pod.
See you later.
got the squeaking of the chair in the see you later.
No, did I?
It was literally like squeak you later. Like as you said see you later, you moved so hard in the chair.
I'm mad, but you know what? I'm grateful because we haven't had little post-outro bits in a while, and now we do.
This could be not even the post-outro because maybe you have to redo the see you later. Although I guess you can just redo the see you later in the...
See you later, losers.
See, every time you go to say see you later, you lean forward, and then your chair squeaks.
I'm sorry.
You have to stay still.
I gotta strategize.
You have to not be emotive.
See, the other chair, I sit on it, and it's like a sponge pillow, and it lets out a bunch of air, and it sounds like I'm farting every time I sit down.
You're rich now.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was spending on. Forget the microphone. I'm buying a new chair.
Not a necessity though.
True. I don't need it.
Yeah, don't buy it.
I don't need it. I don't need any of you people.
Yeah.
What am I doing? I'm leaving.